How's it going? Welcome to Chats with Spencer. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. My guest today is someone who I discovered at the most recent AGDQ with his run of Whipsy and the Lost Atlas. I just really enjoyed his run. He seemed like a really interesting and cool guy. Coming all the way from Germany, he is David, also known as MoD366. He will also be an MC at the European Speedrunner Assembly's next event, which starts on Friday. Please have a look in the description for details about that event. Watch it, support it. It's for a great cause. Without further ado, here's my interview with David. All right, David, thank you so much for being here today. How are you doing?
I'm wonderful. Thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So, David, I just wanted to ask you a question, just kind of about your background. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about where you grew up, what kind of kid you were, and maybe just like some of the things you were interested in.
Yeah, sure. So, I grew up where I'm still living in Berlin, Germany, um, in a rather in a rather poor family, with just my mother being there and having not that much of an income. She did manage to get me a gaming console rather early on. So, I was kind of gaming like starting at 5 or 6, I think, maybe even at 4 already. So yeah, really early, and I kind of never stopped. So yeah, that's what I still do as a pastime. Not only when streaming or speedrunning, but also just hey, I want to have fun, so let's play some games. Um, then yeah, my school days weren't really the best.
That's fair.
In primary school,
Hmm.
I was bullied because, well,
Okay.
I'm overweight. I was overweight as a kid,
Okay.
and kids are cruel. So
Yeah.
yeah, and add to that, I was really good in primary school.
Okay.
I never had to learn for anything, and
Mm.
yeah, not sure how it is around the world, but here in Germany, if you are a good student in primary school, you're a nerd, and people
Hmm.
don't tend to like you, which yeah, which added to the bullying, which was not fun. Um, Secondary school was better. I grew a thick skin.
Hmm.
Didn't take the insults too personally anymore. So
Hmm.
I laughed with them, and they stopped because it wasn't fun anymore to make fun of me
Hmm.
because I was laughing. So yeah, but the thing, because of that, I'm not the most social person.
Okay.
I take a long time to trust people.
Okay.
If I do trust them, they have my trust, and it's hard to break that. But yeah, it really takes a long time for me to get warm with other people. I'm not good at starting conversations with people I don't know, um, which kind of sucks. But yeah, that's something I still need to overcome. But yeah, then um, well, sometime after school, I found that back then YouTuber a.k.a.
Hmm.
Who was a really cool guy. I loved his commentary style, his play style. He then started streaming, um, and as soon as I had the money to get some good equipment, I started Let's Plays. Then I started streaming, um, and yeah, he was kind of the guy who introduced me to Games Done Quick back in, I think it was 2015, that he started speedrunning Portrait of Ruin, um, and was talking about Games Done Quick because of the upcoming, I think it was AGDQ, but I'm not sure anymore. Um, and yeah, ever since then, I'm hooked on speedrunning. I
Hmm.
follow every Games Done Quick event, well, main event. I don't have the time to follow all the hotfix shows.
Hmm.
Um, I've been to two ESA events on person, which is the European Speedrunner Assembly in Sweden,
Okay.
um, which were two really awesome travels. Um, and yeah, that's basically it. That's basically my past
Hmm.
shortened into a few minutes.
David, can you maybe share some of your passions outside of speedrunning? I know in that previous interview that we just did that you mentioned reading, but is like other stuff as well?
Yeah. Apart from reading, I'm I kind of do like sports, even if I don't
Okay.
look like it. I've been in a table tennis club while in school.
Okay.
Um, I do like rowing, but it's really hard to do that on your own, as well as table tennis. And you
Mm,
don't find many people interested in table tennis if you're not in a club anymore. Um, Other than that, I did enjoy beach volleyball
okay.
when we did it in school. Um, and Yeah, as you already said, I'm reading very much. I'm interested into also manga and anime. Um, yeah, that's mostly what takes up my time.
What are some books you enjoy reading? Maybe like genre or author?
I do enjoy reading fantasy.
Okay.
Um, I also enjoyed the Dan Brown books, which are more
Oh, yes.
science fiction, but they're awesome. I've read like all the Harry Potter books in German and English multiple times.
Mm.
I think a total of 20 times each,
Oh, jeez.
maybe. But yeah, I'm really, really into those books, or I
Mm.
was really into those books.
Hmm.
Nowadays, I'm reading fan fiction of Harry Potter and some anime. So yeah, that's mostly what gets me.
And I just another follow up question, just in the sense of manga and anime. What are maybe like your top three for both?
Oh shoot, that's hard. That's really hard. So currently there is the series The Promised Neverland.
Okay.
Um, it's the manga is finished in Japan. We are at volume 16 out of 20 in Germany. So I'm looking for those. That's a really good one. Um, I have to mention Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's a really amazing anime. People have to watch that. I love Detective Conan, or Case Closed as it's called
Hmm.
in the US. Um, and yeah, you can always get me with Pokemon and Digimon. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, I totally agree with you on Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. I love that show, and I can
yeah,
watch it over and over again. It's
yeah,
just it's
yeah,
so great.
absolutely, absolutely.
Do you remember the first anime, or like what kind of like got you into anime and manga? Was it something as a kid, or was it like
Um, yeah, it was pretty much the afternoon program on TV.
okay?
They uh, let me think. I think the first one that comes to mind was Cat's Eye
Okay.
that I saw there. But there was also Sailor Moon, Pokemon, Digimon, all that stuff in our afternoon program.
Mm-hmm.
So I came from school, put on the TV, and there was just anime.
Mm.
And yeah, that's what got me into it. And I preferred the anime style over the Western cartoon style,
Okay.
with those more realistic artworks compared to the let's say disfigured, quote unquote,
Hmm.
um, styles that many Western cartoonists use.
Okay.
There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my forte. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
like
for
it
sure.
that
It's just
much.
your preference. That's all
Yeah.
good. All right, David. Next question is: do you have a song that you kind of like remember from your childhood, and you just have like very vivid memories with it of it, and it kind of like resonates with you? So maybe it's a song your mom played, maybe a song you heard on the radio, or a song you just learned as a kid.
Um, since I grew up with music,
Hmm.
basically, I'd say the whole The Lion King soundtrack.
Okay.
That's the one that really got me into music,
Hmm.
into enjoying music. Um, and yeah, that one was really epic.
And just as a follow up, do you remember the first album you bought or asked for or even downloaded?
The first album I bought was from a German punk rock band
Okay.
called Die Ärzte, the
Hmm.
Doctors in English.
Hmm.
Um, and it was called 13.
And just on a similar note, so you mentioned as a kid your mom bought you your first console. So can you maybe just like tell us maybe like one console it was, what was your first game you
Yeah.
played, that kind of thing?
So the console was the Sega Master System 2.
Okay.
That had Alex Kidd and Miracle World pre-installed onto the console. So that was the first game I played, and I do know I had Spider-Man
Okay.
for that console. Um, I don't think I ever got the Sonic game on it, or any of the Sonic games. But I can't really remember too much more. I do know that I borrowed an NES well from a distant relative, let's say,
Hmm.
and had that for almost a year, and played lots on it. Um, but yeah, the first console that I owned was the Sega Master System 2. I did have a Game Boy
Hmm.
with Tetris and Super Mario Land, of course. And yeah, my mother still plays Tetris on her now Game Boy Advance each time, well, most of the evenings. So yeah, I got her hooked on Tetris, but that's
Hmm.
about the only game that she plays.
And I gotta ask, what was the first JRPG you played, and was it that made you fall in love, like the first one you played?
Mm, I think the first I played was Lufia 2.
Okay.
I think I played that before Final Fantasy 7. I'm not sure anymore, but Final Fantasy 7 is what hooked me on JRPGs.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because it's Final Fantasy. The music is just awesome.
Oh yes.
The music in Final Fantasy games is so awesome, and yeah, that's mostly what got me hooked.
As a Final Fantasy fan, I gotta ask: is Final Fantasy VII your favorite Final Fantasy?
Difficult question. So it's definitely my favorite PS1
Okay.
Final Fantasy. I do really like Final Fantasy X.
Same
Um,
here.
it really also is an awesome game. Um, so yeah, one of the two is my favorite. Can't really say for sure which.
That's fair. But yes, I love 10 and just to
Yeah,
Xanarkin. Oh my goodness, that song gets me every time.
yeah. Nobuo Uematsu is such an awesome composer. He's just a legend.
Yeah, I don't even understand how he can write so much good music. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
game after game after game, you're
yeah,
just
yes.
blown away.
Sometimes his head gotta explode, right?
All right, so David, if you could visit any time period in history, what time period would that be and why?
Oh, um, I think that would be a historical Japan.
Okay.
Not sure which time period exactly, but I'm really interested in the history of Japan. I think it's really interesting what happened over there
Mm-hmm.
all those years ago, and yeah, that would be it. I think.
All right. So we're going to switch pace a little bit, just have a few less in-depth questions, but feel free to stop me if you want to elaborate.
Yeah, sure.
So, do you have a favorite sports team?
Not really.
Cats or dogs?
Dogs.
Spring or autumn?
I'd say autumn because it's the end of the warm season. I don't like the warm season. So yeah, spring brings us to the warm season. Autumn gets us out of there. So autumn.
M&M's or Skittles?
M&M's.
One of your favorite movies?
That would be let's go with Your Name.
If your next meal could be anything in the world, what would it be?
I think it's been a long time since I had a good ramen that was not instant noodles. So let's go with that.
And when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up?
A teacher
Okay.
for maths and English.
What's your go-to snack at like the corner store?
Kind of a cheap chocolate bar.
Anyone standing out in your mind right now?
Well, they do have a chocolate and whole hazelnuts
Mm.
chocolate bar for rather cheap. So and yeah, I do like that stuff.
What was one of your favorite childhood TV shows?
That would be mm, Like TV shows, as in game shows, or anything at all?
Anything.
Anything at all. Then that would really be Pokemon.
Okay. And let's just say, list some of your favorite video games of all time.
Persona 5 Royal. As I said, Final Fantasy 10 and 7. Zelda Majora's Mask. Command and Conquer, Red Alert 2.
Okay.
And Yuri's Revenge. And I'm thinking of which Super Mario game I'm going to go for. Because they were all really good. But let's go with Super Mario World. I played that the most, I think. So yeah, those are kind of my go-to games in those separate genres.
And what games have storylines that really stand out to you, that like really like resonated with you?
That would also be Persona.
Okay.
4 and 5. I haven't played 3 all that much. But yeah, the storylines in Persona 4 and 5 are awesome. Final Fantasy always had pretty good stories. And yeah, it is mostly JRPGs or RPGs as a whole, because most other games don't go that much into story.
And what's the best speedrun you've ever seen? And you can maybe do that in person and just like in general.
Oh, the best speedrun I've ever seen must be Mike Tyson's Punch Out by Zelda 1 during GDQ, where he was blindfolded.
Yeah.
That blindfolded run was awesome.
Oh my goodness, that was
Oh
insane.
my bloody god.
Yeah. I got
that was amazing. And in person would be from Mitako during ESA Summer 2019, where no, it was Winter 2020, where he did Final Fantasy 9 Garnet only.
Ooh.
Yeah. And he just added to it. So we were having so much fun. We were doing so much stupid stuff with the audience on the run. It was absolutely amazing. The whole run went like 23 hours or something. Yeah, the estimate was 20 hours. So and he had a time slot of pretty much 24 hours where they told him, yeah, you got that time slot because so ESA has 2 streams, sometimes at least, and that game was on the second stream, which had a pause during the night. So they told him, okay, this is the only game for that day, and you have until the start of the next day to finish it. So he basically had 24 hours to do it. And yeah, we just had so many shenanigans happening. It was really funny. So everyone should go watch it, because holy balls, it was really good.
All right, David, now back to some of the deeper questions, but what draws you to speedrunning? Because for anybody who doesn't know, it's just, you're playing a game as fast as you can to beat it.
Yes.
But what draws you to it?
Yeah, so speedrunning, as you said, is playing a game from start to credits most of the time in the shortest amount possible within the rule set of the category. So there are categories like any percent, which is really just do whatever the flip you want. Yeah, and just finish the game. And what I really like is the techs that are found, the glitches that are found to get you through the game quicker, to skip whole sections of the game, to allow you to do bosses out of order and stuff like that. At least as long as you don't skip the whole game, because I think that's rather boring. But in those cases, you do have other categories that just forbid such a glitch. But yeah, the whole skill that you that you need to have, that you need to show to be good. That's what really draws me to it, because I do like watching professionals at what they do best. And yeah, you don't get any more professional than a speedrunner of a game. It's just that.
And I gotta ask you about Whipsy and the Lost Atlas.
Yeah.
Just in the sense, okay, so this game, you've basically said it has bad controls.
Yeah.
And there are elements of RNG in it. So
Yeah.
why do you speedrun it? That sounds like a nightmare.
Yeah. So the thing is, the streamer that I mentioned, AGDQ, he had a preview copy from the devs.
Okay.
That he showed a few days before the game launched on stream, and he was complaining about the controls, about gameplay mechanics. So you do not have any input buffering, you do not have any coyote time. So if you run off a cliff, you can't jump while midair. And yeah, those are some rather poor design choices. But I was thinking, hey, it's a rather short game. Back then it had 5 stages. Now it's got 6. But yeah, back then it was 5 stages, and I said to myself, okay, I can deal with bad controls. I can deal with bad game design, or with those game design choices. Yeah, I needed or I wanted to get into a second game that I speedrun. So I thought, hey, why just try it? Just get the game. It was like, I don't know, $6 or something. So it wasn't expensive. And I was like, yeah, okay, let's just try it. My first playthrough took about an hour 20 or something. And yeah, after that, I recorded my first run. Took 18 minutes. So just after the first playthrough, just after getting used to everything in the game, I cut down my playtime by an hour. And yeah, that's basically what speedrunning is. You get used to the game, you get used to what you have to do, and you cut down your time. It happens automatically. Sure, there is RNG, and the RNG hates me most of the time. But I mean, the thing is, without RNG, games would be too easy. So there has to be some kind of randomness in them, so you can't just autopilot.
Okay, fair enough.
Because autopiloting it works. I mean, there are games like Super Mario Brothers where you can mostly autopilot. There are some places where you have to watch out what happens, but most of the time you just okay, I press the run, but I press forward that amount of time before I have to jump, and you don't really have to look at the screen, if we're being honest. And I mean, yeah, the stages in Whipsy are like that. You don't have to watch for much because it's always the same. There's no RNG in the stages themselves, but in the boss fights. So you have to watch in the boss fights what's the boss doing, so that you can react.
David, what's one thing you wish you knew that you know now from speedrunning that you wish you knew when you first started?
That you don't have to know all the tricks that the top tier runners do to get a decent run in. So that's not something that I learned from the games that I run, because the games I run have such a small community. There aren't any glitches that we use because we haven't found any yet.
Okay.
But yeah, watching like from GDQ hotfix, the first step where they do races of games that they have played once, and haven't seen anything about speedrun routes or anything, and they're just racing the game with whatever they found themselves.
Yes.
And I think it's really interesting to see that. And yeah, that showed me, okay, I don't have to learn all that stuff that they do, because I can just get the game and try to figure out how to get fast myself. And once I'm confident with that, then I can look, okay, what are the others doing to get even faster? And that's a concept that if anyone wants to get into speedrunning, they should have in mind, because you will be slow at the start. Of course you will be, because you haven't practiced. And practice the stuff that you already know, and then implement one trick after the next. So for Ocarina of Time, for example, yeah, you have so many skips in that game. You don't have to do them all at once. Just do the first run like glitchless, and then do one minor skip after the other in consecutive runs, and you will get better at them, and you will get more consistent with that one trick that you did. And when you have that one down, you go to the next one, and that's how you get better times, and maybe one day you will be up at the top on that game.
And David, I was just wondering if you could share a very memorable gaming moment you have with us. It doesn't have to be necessarily speedrunning related. Maybe it could be the first game you beat, or just some memorable moment from your gaming career.
Memorable moments. I think. Oh, what am I going for there? Because in my opinion, nothing I did on stream was really that memorable
Okay.
as it is. So I think
Even casual gaming.
for me personally,
Yes.
it wasn't shown anywhere on stream, but
Mm.
my very first platinum trophy on the PS3, I think it was.
Okay.
That was the most memorable for me, because it was the first time I spent all that time to get the platinum.
Mhm.
Was Final Fantasy X.
Ah.
I wanted that stupid platinum trophy, and yeah, then I also spent about 350 hours to get the platinum of Persona 5. Not sure why I did that, but yeah, it's just a good game. So yeah, those were fun memories of mine, because I had awesome games that I spent a lot of time with, to get that one achievement, which is the platinum trophy, which only a few percent of the people ever got. So yeah, I think that's the one, because most of my world records are in games that not many people play. So
Okay.
I'm not counting those really, because there's not enough competition to be really proud of that. So yeah, I think that's the things that I'm most proud at, because I'm also someone who doesn't have too much time and drops stuff rather easily, because I'm getting frustrated that I don't get better at the rate that I want to be. And yeah, so that I took the time to really get the platinum was something I'm proud of myself, because I really stuck to the games.
And David, is there one thing you'd like to achieve in your lifetime? And it does not have to be limited to speedrunning, it should just be in general.
Well, I think what I really would like is having the money to buy a house. Buying a
Okay.
house is not that common here in Germany. Um, so that would really be awesome. Just because, well, no more paying rent is of course one thing. But yeah, if I have a house, I can and maybe even have one built, which would be even more awesome. Then I could maybe have one of my dreams of learning the drums and having an acoustic drum set be reality, because in a flat you can't do that.
No.
The neighbors would hate you. So yeah, a really nice house with a soundproofed room that you can have a drum set in, that would be awesome.
And last question is, David, do you have any words of wisdom you try to live by, or just maybe a saying you enjoy?
Not really like that,
Mm-hmm.
but well, one mentality I live by is don't worry what others think about you. Um, it's important what you self think about you, and if someone doesn't like that, then yeah, don't care about them.
All right, David. So can you let us know where we can find you on Twitch and any upcoming projects you have?
Yeah, so my Twitch handle is MoD366. You can also find me on that on YouTube. I'm mostly doing stuff in German, since that's my primary language. Speedrunning will be done in English mostly. But if anyone speaking English comes into my chat while I'm streaming German, then I'm just switching to English. I've got no problem with that, and most of my viewers understand English anyway. So yeah. Um, Other than that, if you want to contact me, I've got Twitter at underscore MoD366. Um, and upcoming events, there will be an ESA speedrun marathon, ESA Winter 2021. That starts on the 14th of February for a week. And I would really like if viewers would come there. I'm hosting there, so I'm donation reading for some of the games, and we are collecting money for the Swedish Alzheimer Foundation. So while I don't know anyone who had Alzheimer's or has Alzheimer's, it's a really bad disease, and
Mm.
any way to maybe someday put a stop to that would be awesome. So funding the research is a really, really good cause in my opinion. So yeah.
Very great. And yeah, no, I'll talk to you afterwards, and maybe you can provide a link to
Oh,
that
sure.
event, and I'll make sure to post it in the description along with all your social media and
Oh,
like
sure, sure.
Twitch and whatnot. Well, David, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a lot of fun learning about you and hearing your stories.
Thank you for having me again.
No problem. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please go check out David on Twitch and YouTube, and be sure to check out his event. I think if you've never watched speedrunning live, it's quite the experience,
Oh yeah, it
and there's a
definitely
lot of
is.
energy.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely.
All right, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for new videos every Tuesday and Friday. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next video.
Bye.